Hi everybody, welcome to UTech. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to build a 2008 R2 domain controller. The first thing you want to do is log into the server and run hostname, and if you run hostname that just tells you what server you're on. So mine is lab_dc_01, so this is going to be my domain controller, and then after that you type in dcpromo and enter, and this is going to be checking the record in binary and see if that server could be used to create a domain controller. So you just go continue. Okay, so once you get this to this wizard, you have two options. You could just do a basic build for a domain controller, or you could use advanced modes. We're just going to do a basic. So you go next. This just tells you that you're going to be building a 2008 R2 domain controller. Next. Okay, so here is where you have to choose what you want. So if you have a existing network and you already have a domain controller, a root controller, and you want to add a existing or add a second domain controller, you'll go to existing forest. But if this is your first domain controller on your network, so you want to go to create a new domain in this new forest. So you go next. Here is what you want to name your forest root domain. So for mine, I'm gonna go home.net, and I just go next. Now it's going to be checking on your network to see if that name is not being used. If this name was going to be used, it'll give me a message saying that can't use it, this domain name is already being used by a different server. So now we have to set up the function level. This basically gives you a couple of options. You have 2000 server, 2003, 2008, and R2. This basically, for example, if I pick 2008 R2, and then in the future if I ever want to add another server which is going to have 2003, I can't do it on my network, but if I go 2003, I could add a 2003 or 2008 or whatever. The only difference between this is if you select 2008, you have more features, and then but in the future if you do select 2008 and you want in 10 years or 5 months whatever, you want to add a 2003 server onto your domain, you can't do that. This gives you option, but for this we're just gonna go with the 2008 R2. So you go next. So now it's examining your DNS. So this basically, this domain controller is also gonna be a DNS server too. In real life business you would not do this, just for security purpose, and then but for now we're just gonna go ahead and go next. So this is just saying that you're gonna create a DNS server. You just go yes, and this is just gonna create the database log files. You don't need to worry about this unless you wanna rehome these to a different place just for safety reason or security reason. You don't want to have all these logs on your domain control. You want to have it on your app server. You could do that. It's all up to you. But for this, we're just gonna leave it here and just go next. So now it's gonna ask you to create a password. This password is really important. Make sure every time you create this password, if you do create it and you don't forget, so this basically is your safety password. So say I turn this into a domain control, and then in 3 weeks later that I decided that I don't want a domain control anymore, I want a different domain control, this option will let you demote it. So it'll basically undo the domain controller. It'll just turn into a standalone server. So just type in a strong password that you remember. And the other purpose of this password is you just don't want anybody from your work coming in and messing with this. So that's why it gives you the option to add the password. So now you just go next. This just tells you that this is gonna be your net BIOS name. It's gonna be home, and it's a 2008 functional level, and forest functional level is 2008 R2 domain functional level. This is just for permission issues. Okay, now it's creating all the records, so you can just go reboot. While this is doing it, I want to explain a couple of things that is really important. The rule of thumb is that every time you have a server, you always want to have static IP address. You could do all this with DHCP, but this is I'm only using one NIC. So just go to property, and then this is the network I'm using, and then I got the subnet and defaults, and here it's for my DNS, it's the same IP as this server, because I'm telling my server to use my domain controller also to be a DNS server. But if you have a separate DNS server, you could enter the IP address for that server. You could have multiple DNS just for front zone and back zone DNS servers. So while this is, I'm gonna pause the video while this is redoing, setting up this, and then I'll start the video after this is done. Hi everybody, welcome back. I just restarted the computer after, or actually it automatically restarted the computer after the policy was done. So I'm logged into the server lab_dc_01. So now I gotta find out if this server did join to the domain controller, did everything actually work correct. So I'll go to computer, right, left click property. So I'm back at this menu. If you look down here, it's a full name, computer name is lab_dc.01.net.home. So that means I'm on my nethome.net domain. So this is a domain controller right now. Thanks for watching this video. If you guys have any more questions or any concern, or what you want me to create another video on cluster or any kind of computer IT, please subscribe and leave a message. Thanks.